Okay, picture this. A team, maybe monks, maybe highly trained lay people, spending a whole week, like 8, 10 hours every single day.
Yeah.
And they're painstakingly layering millions of grains of brightly colored sand.
Using those little metal funnels, right? The chakpurs.
Exactly. Trickling out the sand grain by grain to build this absolutely perfect, incredibly intricate geometric pattern. It's stunning. A flawless map of some divine world, really. A masterpiece. And it's born from this intense shared meditation.
It truly is a feat of concentration and artistry.
Right. But then the moment it's finally done, they gather around, there's some ceremony, and then they just take a brush and sweep it all away into a single pile of colored dust. Gone. So the question is why? Why pour all that energy, that focus, that sacred effort into creating something so beautiful, only to, destroy it seconds later?
That paradox, the one you just laid out so well, that's really the doorway into understanding the Vajrayana Mandala. For a lot of people, especially here in the West, they see these images, maybe in museums or books, and think, oh, beautiful, exotic art.
Yeah, or maybe just a religious symbol.
Right. But our sources, the texts and the teachers, they're really clear on this. The mandala is so much more than just a picture. It's actually a sophisticated spiritual technology. Think of it like an architecture of enlightenment. It's designed specifically to be an active tool for transforming yourself.
Okay, so it's not passive art, it's an active program. And our mission today is basically to decode that program, right? To uncover the blueprint for this transformation step by step.
Exactly. And maybe the best place to start is the name itself. In Tibetan, it's Kilkor, often pronounced Kilkor.
Kilkor, okay.
And the literal meaning is pretty simple. That which encircles a center.
Which encircles a center. Simple enough.
But that simple definition holds its whole function, really. The mandala is a complete system. It works as a visual aid for meditation, obviously. It also functions to create a consecrated sacred space. But fundamentally, its job is to be a guide.
A guide. From where to where.
It's designed to help guide the practitioner, you, from the kind of chaotic, ordinary, self-focused way we usually see the world, towards that peaceful, unified center of reality, which is, ultimately, realizing your own innate potential for enlightenment, your Buddha nature.
Okay, so if the goal is that realization, that peaceful center, let's look at the architecture. How does the diagram itself map out that journey? Let's unpack it.
Well, when you look at the structure, yeah, it's a conceptual diagram of the cosmos, but primarily it's a map of your inner world, your mind. And every single mandala, doesn't matter which specific deity it's for, starts from and ultimately resolves back into the absolute center.
That single point. The still point.
That's it. That's the bindu. It means seed or drop. It's the central dimensionless point, and it represents the ultimate truth, the unconditioned reality, enlightenment itself. That's the destination, the silent core of everything, including your own mind.
Okay. And radiating out from that bindu, that point, you get the biggest structure, right? The perfect square, the celestial palace.
The Vimana, yes. That's the residence of the central deity, which embodies that perfected state you're aiming for.
And the fact that it's a perfect square?
Yeah.
That's important.
Oh, absolutely crucial. Its perfect geometry signifies that this space of wisdom, it doesn't deviate, it's flawless. It's meant to be experienced as a Buddha field, a realm of nirvana. And significantly, it's heavily protected. It's sealed off from the impure world outside, the world of samsara.
Samsara, the cycle of suffering, dissatisfaction, rebirth. Basically ordinary life for most of us.
Pretty much, yeah. The messy cycle we're all caught in.
So the palace is nirvana. Perfect inside. And everything outside those walls is samsara, the mess. So how do we, coming from that mess, get inside?
Through the gates.
Exactly. You approach through one of the 4 gates set at the cardinal directions.
Yeah.
North, south, east, west. But they're not just doors. They're symbolic portals, yes, but they also represent active requirements, things you need to cultivate.
Like what? What do they represent? They stand for the 4 boundless thoughts, or immeasurables. Loving kindness, compassion, sympathetic joy, being happy for others, happiness and equanimity. You basically can't even approach this wisdom space without cultivating these qualities.
Makes sense. You can't barge into enlightenment filled with negativity. And typically, where do you start?
Traditionally, the visualization practice begins by imagining yourself entering through the eastern gate, which is usually colored blue.
Okay, but wait, before you even get to those beautiful gates, symbolizing these positive qualities, you've got to cross some pretty intense-looking terrain first. Those concentric circles outside the palace walls, they look like defenses.
They are, in a way. But think of them less as barriers to keep you out and more as a psychological filtration system. Required trials, like you said. This layered structure is a step-by-step guide for purifying your consciousness. You start by visualizing yourself out there in the chaos of the ordinary world, and you have to pass through each ring in order, moving inwards.
Okay, so it's a purification process. Let's walk through it outside in. What's the very first ring? The first trial?
The first thing you hit is a ring of fire.
Sounds intense.
It is. It represents this primordial flame of wisdom. Its job is to burn away all your fundamental ignorance, your mental defilements, the really gross stuff. It's dynamic, powerful. It symbolizes that first transformation, which can be, frankly, a bit painful, but it's absolutely necessary.
Okay, so you survived the fire, you've burned off the obvious junk. What's next?
Inside the fire, you find the wing of vajras. These are often shown as interlocking thunderbolts or sometimes diamonds.
Vajra, that means diamond or thunderbolt, right? Indestructible.
Precisely. This ring signifies your commitment to the path, the adamantine, unbreakable path to enlightenment. It represents the purity and the sheer indestructibility of the spiritual state you're now dedicating yourself to entering. It's like making a solid promise to yourself. I will not turn back.
Okay, commitment made. Then comes maybe the strangest one, the most confrontational. The Ring of Eight Charnel Grounds. Why put graveyards right before the perfect palace? Seems dark.
But that's where the Vajrayana approach really shows its unique power. This layer forces you to confront death, impermanence, samsara head on. The charnel grounds, these cremation sites, they symbolize the 8 aggregates of human consciousness, basically. Our attachments, our senses, the things that bind us to this ordinary, fleeting world.
So you have to face mortality.
You have to look directly at the transient nature of everything, including yourself, your own death. It's about confronting that ultimate psychological fear, the fear of ceasing to exist.
Wow, okay, so it's like mandatory psychological boot camp, facing your deepest fears about existence itself.
You could say that. It's definitely not about avoiding the difficult stuff.
So assuming you passed through that,
yeah,
you faced impermanence, confronted your attachments, what's the final stage just before you step into the palace?
That would be the ring of lotus petals. Think about a lotus flower, grows up out of the mud, but blooms totally pristine and undefiled above it, right?
Right. Beautiful image.
So this ring symbolizes that final stage of purification, the mind emerging from the mud of samsara into the pure, sacred space of the palace, now ready to encounter and eventually merge with that enlightened consciousness inside.
It's just amazing how precisely this is all mapped out. It's not just spatial, it's deeply psychological. You mentioned color.
Yeah.
The colors are key to the whole process too, like an alchemical code.
Exactly. The color scheme is crucial. It connects directly to a core Vajrayana principle. Transformation, not eradication. You don't try to destroy negative emotions. The cliches, things like anger, greed, jealousy, pride, ignorance.
You don't? Most systems say get rid of them.
Vajrayana says they're just raw energy, potent energy. And instead of trying to eliminate it, which is often impossible anyway, you can actually recycle it, transform it into fuel for awakening. The mandala's color palette is basically the instruction manual for that alchemy.
Okay, I love this idea. Your worst traits are just energy sources waiting for a different job. Can we look at the map? You mentioned the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. How does that work with the colors and the poisons?
Sure, let's take a few examples. Start right in the center. That's typically white. It's associated with the Buddha Vairochana. The poison, or klesha, here is ignorance or delusion, basically misunderstanding reality. Through the practice, that energy gets transformed into the wisdom of ultimate reality, or the wisdom of the Dharmatatu, seeing things as they truly are.
Okay, white. Ignorance becomes wisdom of reality. Got it. What about east? You said that was blue.
Right. East is blue, the color associated with that Shobi Buddha. The poison here is anger or aggression. That fiery energy, when transformed, becomes mirror-like wisdom. Think of a perfect mirror. It reflects everything exactly as it is, clearly, without judging, without getting angry at the reflection. Pure, clear perception.
Wow, okay. Anger becomes perfect, clear seeing. What about west?
West is typically red, associated with Amitabha Buddha. Red is the color of passion, desire. So the poison here is attachment, grasping, craving. That energy, transmuted, becomes the wisdom of discernment. It's the ability to see the unique qualities of everything very clearly, appreciate them, but without the clinging, without the desperate need to possess.
So you still perceive intensely, maybe even feel passionately, but the grasping nature is gone. It's transformed.
Exactly. You don't become numb. You just change the function of that emotional energy. It serves wisdom instead of confusion.
And inside the palace, we find these figures, the deities. You mentioned they're embodiments of qualities, so not external gods we need to worship.
That's absolutely vital to understand. They are visual archetypes, you could say, embodiments of enlightened qualities and energies that are actually latent within your own mind, within your own consciousness stream. They're like a blueprint of your own fully realized potential.
Okay, that helps explain the wrathful deities. Because honestly, they can look terrifying. It's hard to square fierce compassion with something that looks like a monster if you're used to, gentle Buddhas.
Right. And the practice itself requires understanding this. The wrathful forms aren't about external enemies. They represent the incredibly dynamic, potent, focused energy that's needed to just annihilate deep-seated delusion, ignorance, and especially those destructive habitual patterns we all have.
So you need fierce energy to break fierce habits.
Sometimes, yes. Think about how ingrained some habits are, developed over lifetimes, according to this view. You need something really powerful to cut through that. Their wrath is directed inward, at the obstacles within your own mind. It's the energy of tough love, maybe.
Okay, and what about the yab-yum imagery? The male and female deities in union. That's central, but often misunderstood, right?
Very often. It's actually a very profound symbol of total psychological integration. It represents non-duality. The male figure, the yab, embodies the active principle, skillful means, compassion, method. The female figure, the yum, embodies the receptive principle, wisdom, insight, emptiness.
Method and wisdom.
Their inseparable union symbolizes the state of full enlightenment, where action and insight, compassion and wisdom are perfectly fused. They arise together, inseparable. That's the goal. Balanced, complete realization. Not just wisdom, not just action, but both perfectly integrated.
So the point isn't just to look at this amazing map, the mandala. It's to actually become it internally.
Yeah.
Through visualization, the sadhana practice.
Exactly. Sadhana is the core practice, and it's rigorous mental training, not just daydreaming. It's mental architecture, really. The aim is to internalize the mandala so completely that it becomes a vivid, stable inner reality you can access anytime. To make that map of perfection your primary way of experiencing things.
How does that work? Do you just imagine yourself inside it?
It's more transformative than that. The practitioner actively dissolves their ordinary, limited sense of self, which is seen as flawed, based on ignorance, and then systematically rebuilds their self-identity as the deity in that pure environment of the mandala.
Wow. So you're actively training your mind to see reality differently through pure vision.
That's the term, yes. Pure vision. Mm-hmm. And the culmination of the practice is merging. You visualize yourself becoming completely one with the central deity, dissolving that limited ego, and realizing, this deity was never actually out there. It was a perfect reflection of my own deepest, highest potential all along.
That sounds incredibly powerful. No wonder they call it the lightning path, taking the result enlightenment as the path itself.
It's a very direct approach. Now, besides visualization, the mandala is also central to another key practice, the mandala offering, or mandala puja. And this really reveals what you called a psychoeconomic model of making spiritual progress.
Right, the idea of merit, punya, spiritual capital.
Exactly. In this tradition, progress depends on accumulating positive karmic energy or merit. And the single most powerful way to generate massive amounts of merit is through practicing supreme generosity. Giving without any expectation, without any strings attached, without even subtle clinging. The mandala offering is a structured way to practice that ultimate generosity.
How? What are you offering?
You're offering, symbolically, the entire cosmos, everything valuable and beautiful to the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, your teachers, the objects of refuge. This act generates immense positive energy, or punya.
And there are different levels to this offering, right? It gets deeper.
Yes, typically 3 main levels. The most common is the outer mandala. This is where you offer the entire external universe. Often people use a physical mandala plate, piling it with rice or jewels representing Mount Meru, the continents, sun, moon, all treasures. Or you can do it with a specific hand gesture, a mudra, that symbolizes the cosmos.
Okay, offering the whole world, what's the next level?
The inner mandala. This is more advanced. Here, you visualize offering your own body as the cosmos. Your spine becomes Mount Meru, your limbs, the continents, your flesh, the fragrant earth, your senses, the precious offerings. It's a powerful practice of non-attachment to the body.
Offering your body. Wow. Okay. And the deepest level, the secret mandala. what could be left to offer?
That's the secret mandala. This is the most profound. Here you offer the subtlest, most precious aspects of your own mind. Things like blissful meditative states, moments of deep insight, even the direct realization of emptiness itself.
You offer your insights, your spiritual experience.
Yes, it's the ultimate act of non-clinging. Letting go of attachment even to your own spiritual attainments, your most refined internal possessions. That deep letting go, especially of ego clinging around spiritual experiences, is seen as the final step towards complete liberation.
So if the inner mandala is offering my body, the secret mandala is like offering up my most cherished idea, my PhD thesis, the belief that makes me feel smart or right.
Precisely. That's a fantastic analogy. Offering up that subtle clinging to being right or knowledgeable or even enlightened, that's the essence of the secret mandala offering. Profound surrender.
Let's circle back to where we started. That incredibly vivid image. The sand mandala, the Dulcim Kyolkor. We talked about the painstaking creation, but we agreed the really crucial part is the end. The sweeping away.
Yes, the ritual dissolution. It's arguably one of the most direct and powerful teachings on Enika impermanence and also Vairagya, non-attachment or non-clinging. All that intricate beauty, all that effort, gone in moments.
And then they collect the sand.
They collect it all into an urn and typically take it to a body of flowing water, like a river or ocean, and release it. The idea is to send the blessings, the positive energy generated by the creation and the visualization, back out into the world for the benefit of all beings. It makes the abstract concept of impermanence incredibly visceral. You feel it.
And maybe that's why mandalas resonate even outside Buddhism in the modern West. Carl Jung, for example, he wasn't looking at it religiously.
No, Jung saw the mandala as something much more universal, an archetypal symbol emerging from the collective unconscious. He saw it as representing the self with a capital S, the psyche's innate drive towards integration, towards wholeness, towards balancing all its different parts.
And now even neuroscience is starting to kind of validate this ancient technology, seeing it as a neurocognitive tool.
It's fascinating, isn't it? Science is beginning to map out what contemplatives have known through experience for centuries. We're seeing neurological correlates for the effects of mandala practice.
Like what specifically? What happens in the brain?
Well, studies using brain imaging show that when people view these kinds of complex geometric patterns, something interesting happens. You get less activation, hypoactivation in the parts of the brain usually busy with recognizing objects, function.
So the brain stops trying to label it simply.
Seems like it. And at the same time, you get more activation, overactivation in areas linked to symbolic processing, meaning making. So the brain shifts gear from what is this object to what does this mean?
That's incredible. That's like a neurological switch from mundane perception to seeking deeper significance. That directly mirrors the meditative goal.
It really does, and there's more. Contemplating these patterns has also been shown to reduce activity in the amygdala.
The fear center.
Right, which leads to lower anxiety and fear. Think about the ring of fire, the charnel grounds, and the practice is designed to overcome those very things, and here's some neural evidence suggesting it works. It also seems to promote better integration between the brain hemispheres, strengthening the connections between the right brain, often associated with creativity, intuition, holistic views, and the left brain, logic, language, linear thought.
Which mirrors the goal of Yab-Yum, that perfect integration of wisdom and method, balance.
Exactly. It points towards greater psychological balance and integration, which is precisely what Jung was talking about with the self and what the mandala practice aims for. So when you bring it all together, the architecture, the colors, the deities, the visualization, the offering, the dissolution, even the neuroscience, it all converges on one ultimate point. The goal is a radical transformation of perception. It's not about changing the external world, it's about changing the mind that perceives it. The final understanding, the deepest realization the mandala guides you towards, is that the impure world of samsara, our ordinary suffering, existence, and the pure world of nirvana, enlightenment. They aren't actually two different places. They're like two sides of the same reality. The only difference is the clarity or lack thereof in the mind of the person looking.
Wow. So the mandala is like a diamond mirror.
Yeah.
It doesn't just show you a perfect world. It ultimately reveals your own perfect, boundless potential already inherent within you, just obscured by confusion.
That's a beautiful way to put it, a diamond mirror.